Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Trading Brains. I'm your host, Evan Greif, here with my co-host, Angelo Messina. How are you today, Angelo?
I'm pretty well. How about you? How about you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. I mean, aside from all the lockdowns and the vaccine rollout, not doing so well. All things aside, I'm pretty good. Listeners, I know it's been a while since we've had an episode come out. I think the last one was last October. Now it's January 2021, a new year. Let's put 2020 behind us, right?
We can only hope.
Yeah, let's hope for a better year this time around.
Eh, We always have to look forward. So, especially with this not lockdown, how other countries trying to be a little bit being better prepared for this new year from what happened last year.
Hmm.
But our main topic that we're going to talk about COVID, little updates that's going on around the world that we have been interested in looking at. Vaccine, since now the vaccine productivity is going up and the production for the vaccines are being rolled out a lot more and more frequent. There's different phases that I want to do talk about because I know a
Hmm.
lot of people, when we were talking to other people before we got onto this episode, we're asking about a couple of questions as well as the vaccine because a lot of people don't want to get the vaccine because what they have learned or heard from someone about the damages about the vaccine or the good sides or the bad, the good and the
Hmm.
bad about it. So we're
Yeah,
gonna look
yeah,
about all these different topics.
yeah. I'm sure we're
Maybe.
gonna dig.
Hmm?
Sorry, I'm sure we're gonna dig deep into it, especially on the vaccine. But from what I've heard, it doesn't function like other vaccines.
Yeah.
But I guess let's start with like where we're at, like updates on where we
Yeah.
were back in October and where we are now.
So
Uh, let's start with you.
so with the U.S. and like New York, more in New York State, numbers rising up. I know, like right now in the Long Island area, it's about 9%. Um, that people who have COVID, there's a couple area that has like red zones in the sense of yellow, orange, and red being like very has a lot of more cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think this is because of New Year's and Christmas. These are people are coming together and they want to hang out with people.
Hmm.
Um, they haven't seen each other. New Year's is just everyone's at the ball watching that ball to drop.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to get over this whole 2020 phase and go into a new year, new me kind of resolution. Um,
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the ball drop was like made virtual. I thought the police kind
it
of
was
fenced it off.
they had people there, so they made like clusters. So like, let's say you in a group with 5 people, there was a little area designated just for those 5 people, and then like pockets more.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Um, but basically you watch it like how every other year, if you don't go to New York City, you're watching it from home. So,
Yeah.
but that's like that could be a nose or how that was kind of weird looking at that because normally that had been jam packed.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
will camp out in the city.
Well, let's talk about the zones.
So yeah, the different zones that you could think of is red being very a lot like very cluster of positive cases. So with those positive cases, more in laws are being enforced on restaurants. They have to close at a certain time. Curfews are in towns, not just like in certain towns of the island, not just like regions or county based. It's
Oh,
town
okay.
based.
So it's not island wide, it's town based. Huh.
Yeah. So if you're in the red zone, there's certain laws that certain restaurants have to abide to, people have to abide to, as well as um like if you're in the red zone, you're getting test people are getting tested a lot more frequency than people are in the yellow zone or in the like no color zone,
Is that
which
like
is like
mandated or it's like, hey, we really need you to
they
get
really need you. Plus, it's like a little bit more enforced because if you're positive, you have to show you that you're not positive anymore. So they actually getting tested too a little bit more because now you get positive, they're going to keep on testing you every 4 days to see if
Mhm.
you're going to show up negative. So with that, like the numbers are rising because of people gathering in places, or and also with these new the UK strand coming out that it's being more effective or infectious but not as deadly. It just because the virus binding protein or the spike protein is a little bit more different. And I think the best way to make other people to look why it's so different is like Velcro in the sense. So it can adhere better. It can bind to human cells a lot easier than it did in the first strand. So people get effective a lot more, but it's not as deadly in the beginning.
That's interesting that it's like a trade-off there, that it becomes more infectious but less deadly, specifically, like less deadly. Like I can understand if it was just more
So there's
infectious.
more asymptomatic people are showing no symptoms, but they got it.
Yeah.
Which is not like, when you're looking about it, like, okay, fine, at least the human health of the individual is fine, but now they can spread it to other people because they had it. So just be cautious, wear your mask, improve of your inventory of masks. Surgical masks is better than regular masks. Like I'm wearing the KN95, which is a lot of people who use that in construction. Those actually are really proven effective more. Plus, they last longer. So instead of a surgical mask, technically they are pretty much useful for a day or two. Maybe if you can stretch it out, depending on how clean they are and how durable you can make it. But the KN95, you could put another mask above it, and that can last you about a week. If you don't, 3 days. That still lasts longer than normal. And it depends on how well you can hold it. So that would be actually a little bit better. Watching your hands constantly, staying 6 feet apart, and only hanging people that you know. I know people want to go out, chill, and relax with people, but if you do keep in that mindful set of if you're going to use something, clean it. If you're going to leave, clean it again. And as you were, like, you go in, you clean it, and then before you leave, you clean it again.
Yeah. Do businesses like provide disinfectant for you to like wash your hand to disinfect your hands when you go in, or like do they take your temperature too? Okay.
So it depends on the business. Sometimes they don't do temperature, or like they even ask. But they do clean it every day because they have to use hand sanitizer, wipes, UV, depending on the business budget and all, as well as the certain guideline they need to abide to.
So when you say clean, when you say clean it every day, do you mean like just the facilities? Because what I'm trying to get at is in Japan, from what I've seen, even when we weren't in lockdown, when we went out to eat at a restaurant or we went out anywhere for that matter, most businesses provided free hand sanitizer for people who are going in, and people would just wash their hands.
So yeah, like there's going to be like sanitation areas, like there's like a hand sanitizer that you put your hand and clean your hand, good, and that's it. Some there's wipes, there's some, or if you don't have or let's just say your mask is not as good, they'll provide you with another mask. So like it all depends on what the business is and how much you have in the budget that they could provide this as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because like in Japan, I'm sure those businesses are getting like a subsidy, or they're getting rewarded by the government for providing those things. So I'm
some
just curious.
Businesses are, I know, I work in a private school setting, so they have each classroom has hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, for the class, and constantly that's being refilled every day. It's being UV'd and sanitized by a mist of all the classes, all the desks, everything. Okay. So everything gets sanitized as you're done using it. The kids are staying in cohorts, and they stay there for the whole 8 days. I do feel bad for them, but it's for the greater good. It's for their health. Yeah. So if one gets sick, you just quarantine that whole class, not the whole school. So I think that. But I think the number we're seeing spikes because of the holidays. You had people home, people are not working, everyone's in clusters, and now they're intermingling people who they normally don't hang out with.
Yeah.
So, but like with the numbers worldwide as of now, it's 89.7 million people total cases. Total, that people who had it or who never had it, or whatever, the people who had it and then able to recover. Almost about a little bit more than half recovered from it. 49.8 million recovered, and while 1.93 million deaths. So, and that's still increasing by like 15,000 at the moment because the cases depending on who had it and what their health is. I know
Yeah.
I saw a news that 104-year-old World War II vet in Alabama beat COVID.
Hmm.
And that's awesome to see that like their small little victories are happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also another like the vaccines out. You have two, Pfizer and Moderna. Both very effective vaccine. One's 95 and 194. But a lot of people are going with Moderna because of trying to keep it um, stabilized. You don't need to put it in the freezer. So it's
Hmm.
basically the activation rate. You just pull it out, shake it, get a syringe, and now you have your vaccine ready. And they're both in 2 doses. So really, the only thing is just do I need to freeze it or not? Those are the
Yeah.
main two differences that people need to know about the two. But the effectiveness is only off by 1%,
Hmm.
which is fine. But people are like all worried about the vaccine because vaccine you normally get a weak version of the virus. So like why people so like people were like, oh, why do I need to put in a virus that can be deadly? It's like, yes, that is a concern of people, which you always should keep in the mindset. But this is not a
Yeah.
dead version of this virus. This is the messenger RNA, which is a single strand DNA, basically of the virus, but it's not the virus itself. So what's going on is you're we're giving you the code for your body to break it or to understand to see this code. If you ever see this code, you already have it. Like, oh, this is ABC of COVID. Oh, that's COVID. Gotcha. Okay, send the antibodies. Now set. So if you ever do have it, we can block it right away and destroy it and basically kill it off in your
Yeah.
body. So the vaccine's out there just for your safety. You don't have to take it. It's not mandatory to take it, but if you want to, it's there. So in order to it helps you protect it, but there's 2 doses that you need to do. So I got the vaccine. I got it on Monday. Now I have to wait about 4 weeks to get to my next one. And after that, now it's 94% effective, which is after that, not right after I take my second shot. It's going to be a 2-week period.
Hmm.
So I can still get I can still get it, but now it's about anywhere from 20 to 40% effective where I'm at now, about 20%, give or take. But after I hit the next week, it's about 40% effective that I won't get it.
Gotcha. Do you know, like, are the two doses? Do they have separate things inside them? Are there like for different
No,
purposes,
just
or?
basically just another set that more antibodies can be making or more of your body can make it. Because like what happens after
Hmm.
40%, there's not enough material of it. Like it's like let's just think about it. You go to a gym and you work out once and you're like you wait. Now you have muscle memories, but after a while, that muscle memories are going away, but it's still there. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that in that sense. After you take
Okay.
the second dose, oh, okay, it's here. Okay, now I know how to do bench press again. Okay, I got it. I know how
Yeah.
this works, and that's how your body's thinking. Oh, I see. I had saw this. I saw this a month ago. Oh, it's COVID. Okay, okay. Make more, make more, make more, and now it's
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
more. Because now, like, why is it showing it twice now? So
Yeah.
the
And
you're just
it's
training your
just like,
body to make more.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's important, like you said earlier. This way, you teach your body what it needs to do to combat this virus head on, like from
Mm-hmm.
the beginning when it first enters the body, rather than having to learn from step one, you know, uh, by combating it by using all of the immune responses that we have to any sort of virus, which is like, fever, headaches, all kinds of things.
So so people are worried like, oh, there's a limited supply, but there is because we just got the approved. Now we have to keep on making it.
Hmm.
The production for how many people need it, because now it's not just for the American people. This is for the whole world. So now you need to spread it out for everyone to get it. And if it was just for us, I think we could have got everyone vaccinated by a country, but it wouldn't have been only one country, not the whole world.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
that's
also think, like, what about distribution? Like, is there uh significant kind of like not drawback. I'm looking for the right word. Just kind of like a disruption or a delay in the
Well,
distribution
yeah,
of the vaccine.
COVID, it's hard to transport stuff, so everything else is being delayed as well. But you have to go throughout everything. But the moment I feel like the vaccines start hitting into pharmacies, that's when it starts going into more to the public.
Mm.
Now it'll be more accessible to the public now because now it's just going straight to the pharmacy. You go to your pharmacy, you get your yearly flu shot. Basically, that's what it comes
Yeah.
into. But a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to make me sick. Like from my experience that I got from COVID, oh not COVID, from the vaccine, I felt like shit for one day. But I didn't get like sick. Those are little side effects that happened to me.
Yeah, that's what I heard actually. Like that, you feel kind of terrible, not terrible, but like, you feel ill for a day, maybe half a day, but it depends, everyone reacts to it differently. So,
Exactly. So like but like I after the next day, like I took it on Monday, Tuesday I felt like shit, Wednesday I'm back to normal,
mm.
100%. Arm was a little sore, but that's nothing that could bother. Like I still I still did my daily tasks that I needed to do for work. Um, but it can't make you like it's not like you're getting COVID. It's not like they're sending you an injection of like the dead or weakened version of it. No. But another thing is like the vaccine is just there. I'm not telling that you should get it, but I'm just saying that it's available for you when it's out there. So
Yeah.
like keep in mind that like they're in certain phases and like now it just got into 1B. So 1A was for healthcare personnel and long-term care family resident, like people in nursing homes or
Nursing homes.
like
Mm.
long-term, like they've been there for multiple years. Um, Now in 1B is teachers, frontline essential working groceries, and people of age of above 75 and older. So anyone who's 75 and above can get it, and like teachers and frontline assessment worker, grocery stores, kind of that. They just started now.
Mm.
After that, 1C, which is about 65 to 74, and 16 to 64. This is years with high risk conditions. So diabetes, like people autoimmunes, those can take the vaccine as well as the essential worker that's not in previous in 1B. So people were like that other essential worker that's not teachers, healthcare, and groceries, they could start taking it now.
So like
And
public transportation, like MTA?
that's actually in 1B.
Okay.
So first responders, all in 1B. Cops, firefighters, MTA, public transmen, they all can take it in 1B. 1C is everyone else that are still essential, but not first responders and teachers and
Is
groceries.
this the thing that came out by Cuomo from just for New
I,
York?
the
Or
sources I'm using right now is CDC
okay. All right.
that I'm reading from. That I'm
Gotcha.
using it
Gotcha.
for reference. And then
Yeah, yeah.
phase two, it's the age of 16 and older that are not in phase one that we recommended, but it's basically after phase two, it's like kind of like the rest of them.
Yeah, it's just
So
like everyone. Yeah.
yeah, because after 1C, just about 129 million people are being vaccinated.
Hmm.
That's like it should be. If you think about it, you can include all the healthcare workers, all the teachers, everyone who is in this field, about 129 million people, which is what
It's like a little under a third of the U.S. population, right?
exactly, and then to the public. So like going forward with this vaccine, I could see this being like a new flu that you take it once a year. Because after that, if it seems very good, now they're going to try to find a way how to do this yearly. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's because it keeps mutating, right? I mean, that's why we had the
exactly, you
new
have the
strain
UK
and
strain now, and then I
yeah,
heard that there's something in South Africa. I
yeah,
don't know a little bit more about that, but there's different strands around the world that after a while it can develop into something.
yeah.
So
Even with the vaccines out, though, like obviously, they're in existence, but they haven't been completely rolled out yet, and that's
mm,
why I think Germany is currently under lockdown, and they're pretty strict over there. I think a lot of European countries have, understood the deadliness of the virus and, took it very seriously. And that's why the government imposed the restrictions that they have. As for Japan, like we had a lockdown, I think in April-ish, well, last year.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's been a couple months, but it was like somewhere, early summer, let's say.
Yeah.
And then not only, you know, we had that lockdown, but now we had another lockdown starting from the end of December, so
Hmm.
the beginning of January this year, and the number of cases is like double the amount that we
Hmm.
had at the last lockdown. But this time around, like the general public is not taking it as seriously, I think, and we can see on the news that people are out like more so than when they were out during the first lockdown. And
This is
I
people
call
in
it I
Japan
call it a
in general.
lockdown, but it's yeah, I think it's a general population. I mean, well, it's Tokyo, so I'm just going to extrapolate that behavior onto the whole country. But
Mm.
um, yeah, it's more of like, hey, the government really wants everyone to stay inside. It's not like they can't enforce anything. They can't tell you to go home. They can't tell you whatever. But the restaurants and like businesses that will comply with this, they've
Mm.
been asked to close their shops at 8 p.m., not serve alcohol past a certain time, and
Yeah.
encourage stay at home. Um, they'll get, some sort of subsidy. They'll get support money, like for every day that they obey this, new regulation, then they get a certain amount of money for
Yeah.
each shop that they have.
Hmm. Yeah, which is very like I think that actually can work really well because you're being sensitized of doing the right thing,
Yeah.
which shouldn't guide into that case because everyone should just be doing the right thing, but it's a good way to actually get people to get it done, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like if you think about it, if these restaurant owners and the people, people who work in restaurants, they need the money
Hmm.
because no matter what, they got to pay their employees, they got to pay
Hmm.
the rent, they got to
Hmm.
pay for the raw materials to make the food and serve it. So at the end of the day, like you can't just tell people not to work or not to open their businesses and then not help them out.
Yeah. No.
Because like, what are they gonna do? They're just gonna not eat. Like,
Sorry, you can't eat. We can't pay you. What? Huh? No, that's not how it works. Yeah, like it just doesn't. You can't. You can't just basically tell them like, okay, sorry, I can't pay you because of well, COVID. Is it? Yeah, you're out of a job. So either you find another job and or suffer. Okay,
yeah,
find another job. And I know a lot of people where I'm working at or at the labs because I do that too. People like they're hiring people that doesn't have bachelors because now we need the people to keep the production going.
gotcha.
So we can train people that doesn't need a bachelor's to do it, and which is helping a lot because now we have the personnel that can actually keep maintain the workforce,
Mm,
and they're getting paid. We have the production. We still get like the company doesn't do is doing really well because now we have the personnel to help out, and now
gotcha.
and employees are being paid. So what everyone needs to make to ends meet, you have to do it. In the end of the world, yourself is number one. You have to take care. So
Yeah.
it's how you do it. That's my little partake on what this COVID. So main thing about COVID, just be on your toes. You don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. Exactly. Like my thing is almost the same. It's like, just because the vaccine is like out, of course it's cause to celebrate. It's a fucking miracle. Like
Yeah.
the fact that this was created less than a year
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. But
Yeah.
again, the rollout is still not out completely 100%. And there are people who are first in line, like if
Yes.
you're not at risk or you're not a first responder or something like that. So
Well, it makes sense. Like
just
like
stay
healthcare,
safe, wear your mask.
you're
Yeah,
dealing with
healthcare
people.
workers are exposed to it all the time. They should be
Yeah.
getting it. Yeah. My cousin, she's a full-time nurse and
Mm-hmm.
she got the vaccine recently.
Yeah. Like I was in the lab with COVID, so like working with COVID on a daily, weekly basis now. Like I'm being exposed to myself, and like luckily, knock on wood, like I haven't I haven't been or I haven't got COVID yet.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
well,
even
and I got the vaccine.
yeah, since you have the vaccine, or well, you haven't gotten your second dose, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So after you got your second dose, like even if you'd gotten COVID, your body would there already by then have the ability to fight it off.
Yes, but like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have COVID. Okay, I'm not wearing a mask. Okay, I'm gonna walk and
Yeah.
start.
Well, because then
No,
if you have
I'm
COVID, then
gonna
you
be
can still
mindful
infect
because I don't
people.
want to spread to other people. So I'm gonna wear a mask and protect myself so I can protect others.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at right now is like if you have the vaccine and you've taken the vaccine, does that mean you're immune to COVID and therefore you cannot spread COVID? Or you will get infected with COVID, however, your body will be able to fend it off and you'll stay healthy, but you still are a carrier.
Carrier, you could
You're
be a
still
carrier, and you could fight it off, or you could be asymptomatic because there's no. You could get the really weak form because you're already immune to it, so you
right.
can be immune to it and fight it. But the whole premise in the beginning, there's still like a 6% chance. So there's a 6% chance you could still get it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this virus mutating. So you don't know what's the new virus. So right now the vaccine it's good against the UK strain, but I could be wrong. I don't know what it is with the South Africa strain. If it's
Right.
going to be if it's effective to that or to whatever new strain's going to be.
I also
So
heard it was effective against the UK strain, but I don't know about the South
yeah.
African.
So you take it day by day and we go from there. Um, but that's where I feel like it's going to go into these things.
Yeah.
So be mindful. Don't be the first and don't be the last for the vaccine in the area when it does come to you. It all depends on who you want to do. If you want to be the first one, you're very brave, and that's all credit to you guys. The first person, I give them a lot of credit to, and then everyone else.
Yeah.
Oh, don't take the vaccine if you feel uncomfortable. Only take the vaccine that you are 100% sure that you want it.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's strength in like showing how many people take the vaccine, you know, showing those numbers and then the number of people who are adversely affected by it. But at least in my, uh, from my experience or what I've seen on the news, it's only
Mhm.
been a handful of people, maybe like less than uh, two digits of,
Yeah,
number of people who've been really adversely affected by the vaccine. And of
yeah.
course, like there's always going to be those cases.
Of course, it. You're basically telling the whole population it's going to affect this vaccine is going to affect someone differently.
Yeah.
I know that it could affect me just for one day. That could actually be multiple days for one person,
Yeah.
or it doesn't affect anything.
Do you think this pandemic, like obviously, I think it's going to have long-lasting effect on how people view and then respond, like the general public views and then responds to uh, bacterial or even viral infections. Like, it's something that spreads like this did, especially because of you see the response in Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, Singapore. They really knew what was going on and they knew how to take care of it because of they experienced SARS back in was like the 2003 or was it 2010? I
Yeah,
don't remember
just
specific. Yeah, yeah. And you know, in APAC, I feel like there was a lot more, I don't know, concern than there
mm-hmm.
was in Western countries. Uh,
Well,
what do you think
yeah,
going forward? Like, obviously, this is going to be something that's etched into the memories of everyone who
yeah.
experienced.
This is gonna be etched thing, and I think what's gonna be carrying on to the next, like for the next room, like in the future, it's gonna be people gonna be wearing masks if you're sick.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That's what I think the positive thing. Like, if I'm sick, I'm bringing a mask 'cause I don't want people make other people. It's just that now that mentality in the Americas needs to get through, and the Europeans. Like I know in Japan and like in the Japan, right? If someone's sick, they wear masks so they can protect themselves from other. Like they don't want to spread.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's just what you do. You know,
But
it's like for here, it's a fact of matter thing, and I think that's a great thing to spread to the U.S. I think it's not a problem, and like I would honestly feel patriotic,
yeah,
or
and
just
then
like
also like
happy to protect other people.
mhm, exactly like think about that. Yeah, you are protecting your other people. How can I protect? Wear a mask.
Yeah.
just do the right thing, and that's what people will get into later on because of who how COVID had impacted their life, and it impacted other people in different ways.
Yeah.
Going forward of the vaccine, taking it in what yearly, this and schools.
Well, I
Remote.
wanted to ask. I wanted to get to that. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hint on. Like after talking about how people are going to think about pandemics, how is this going to affect education and also the working world? I'm more so
Now,
the education.
teachers are being basically asked to do the impossible, and I just like basically just now even more be on their toes. Now, I don't think a snow day is going to be a thing now. It's going to be, oh, there's snow. Oh, you can't make it to
Learn
work.
from
Okay,
home.
teach online. Work
Right.
online. What?
Yeah.
Hold on. Normally, teachers look forward for a snow day because you just gave them a break of like the constant stress of thinking about a new day, thinking about this, thinking about whatever I need to do, get kids entertained and whatever. So
Yeah, make sure the
now,
curriculum makes sense.
exactly. So I'm just like I'm like thinking about like, okay, now the snow day, am I going to actually get a snow day, or am I actually going to be teaching online because the
Yeah, for you
technology?
listeners who don't know, Angela's a teacher. So
Huh?
for the
Yeah.
listeners who don't know, Angela's a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been for a couple of months now, and it's a great gig. I love it. But I still work in the lab because I like working with my hands and also keeping in the field with COVID because I want to help out as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why like we have been a little bit moving slowly with this, but hey, it's for the common good, and that's what matters the most. This is just our way to pass along the information on what's going on with anything we talk about, such as with COVID and other stuff. But
Yeah. Well, I was going to
uh,
ask, like, there's a great point you brought up about snow days. I hadn't even thought about that. But do you think in general, like, remote learning is going to be continuing to be part of education, or do you think, like, for the most part, students are going to get back to normal and be back in the classroom?
so, like my school, like, we are in person. That is go to in person. Now, kids and parents have the option if they want to send their kids to school or remote or hybrid, fully remote.
Okay. Oh,
It's on them.
right, right.
But um, with this new way of how people are thinking, I think you're even asking the administrative of schools to change
Hmm.
constantly.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to PTA, right?
Hmm.
To voice that. So,
But that's why um, I'm really into like how everything's gonna be played out. That's why.
yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
forever, obviously it's a dark time in the history of the world. And I think a lot of countries are going to learn from this and understand like how they're going to understand better how to respond to it.
with the many mistakes that has happened around the world, or not being prepared, or this is a learning experience.
Yeah.
Some countries did better than others, and now you just have to learn from other countries how they defended it well or how they can improve on defending this for the next one.
Yeah.
So with that, like going from end to that, just take it day by day and just learn from your mistakes from the past. Moving forward, it's little by little, but now it's what's gonna change. It could be school is gonna be fully remote, or if there's a potential lockdown, people I can see a potential lockdown in certain countries again because of the numbers are rising. So it's
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
cut it off and flatten the curve again. Um, and with the vaccine, it can be very beneficial for things. So, um,
Yeah.
but I have nothing else, other topics to bring about COVID. I feel like we hit a lot of good points. So,
Yeah, I think we did have a lot of good points. And, there's obviously much more that we could talk about, but for the most part, we pretty much caught up like what we were talking about. And there's much more to come out in the news in the coming days. So everyone stay strong. Like, and so many people have lost their jobs and have lost their health care. But at the end of the day, that there's light at
mhm.
the end of the tunnel. And
Yeah, there is light. And the appreciation out for healthcare workers, teachers, first responders, everyone who have contributed, even people who just wearing masks. Appreciation to everyone.
yeah.
Doing their part and trying to help out to make a better future. That's one thing you get asked for.
Yeah. And with that, I think that just about wraps up our show. Listeners, everybody, thanks for being here with us. We always love, doing this show. We're sorry we can't do it more often, but we think, we will be in the next coming weeks, next coming months.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can always reach out to us at tradingbrainspodcast@gmail.com. Always looking for, content. If you guys have any requests, of course, we'd love to talk about it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we'll just keep yammering on about what, Angela and I want to talk about.
whatever topic we want to do, and
Yeah, I mean,
that's the point of it.
yeah, we enjoy that too, of course, of course. But we want to have a community and we want to have you guys involved. So please reach out to us, and you can find us on Twitter, Instagram. All those links are going to be in the description below the show. And yeah, stay safe, take care. We love you all, and have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Bye bye.